So in these industries,
Yeah.
they obviously want to raise a lot of animals so that they can make a lot of profit out of them.
Mm-hmm.
And to do that, they keep them in confined quarters.
Yeah.
And you can see here, because they spend all day on this metal, in these metal cages, they develop a lot of sores.
Yeah.
And they go insane. Like, they go crazy from the lack of stimulation. There's no toys for them to play with. They can't get outdoors. And you can see in some of the cages, they're cramming a lot of animals into one cage.
Yeah.
As you can see here, they're quite rough for them because essentially they treat them as a commodity,
Yeah.
as a product. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they get quite frustrated, a lot of these workers, because animals aren't easy to, you can't tell them what to do, right?
Yeah.
And
What did they do there? Did they like knock them out or something?
yeah, they're breaking their necks.
Damn.
And then essentially they're going to lie them down, and then we're going to see they rip their skin off, so people can wear them as a coat.
Damn. It's pretty full on.
Do you think we need to consume and use animals for products in order to be happy and healthy?
No. Honestly, I don't think we need to. I mean, nowadays we can do like synthetic stuff. We don't need to harm animals to do that. You know?
Yeah.
And my grandfather, he used to grow up on a farm, so he would like grow chickens that you'd get eggs off them, look after them.
Right.
But then when they're at the end of their life, you'd kill them because there's nothing else to do with them. Oh wow.
So they annually electrocute the dogs and the animals, and they're often still alive while they rip the skin off because, yeah, it's really full on. Do you think there's any difference between killing animals for fur or killing animals for meat? Like, is there any moral difference?
It really depends on, like, the whole thing is that if you kill an animal, it's still killing an animal. It's how you go about doing the whole process. If you're just doing it as like, oh, we need to eat something, let's kill this thing, and you don't have any consideration for the animal.
Right.
I mean, I understand we've evolved, so we're at the top of the food chain, we eat things.
Right.
And, that's how stuff works. But if it's just, somebody wants to wear this or something like that, and you're just pulling off for no consideration for the animal, it's not fair on that thing.
Right, so are we talking kind of about the treatment of the animal before
Yeah.
So what the situation I like to use to get us thinking about it morally is, if I had two animals here that are identical in all the ways that mattered, and they're the same species, let's say it's two cows. If one was raised in a factory farm and lived a life of suffering, and the other one had belly rubs all day, is it more moral to kill one or the other?
Moral? No, not necessarily.
Or ethical?
Ethical, I think if the cow is like grown up in a way that it's, for that reason.
Both of them are raised for that reason. It's just that one of them's lived a life where it's had belly rubs every day, it doesn't know it's going to be killed, and the other animal's in a factory farm.
Right. I mean, it's a hard question to answer in the sense that there are so many different, contexts around answering that question.
Well, what we're doing is we're defining whether the context of we're defining whether the treatment matters or the killing. What makes it moral or not? Because essentially, we could say that less suffering is good.
Yeah.
But would we say that killing could ever be moral if the being or the person being killed doesn't want to die?
Right.
Because an animal, essentially, whether they're treated nicely or poorly, at the end of the day, if they end up in a slaughterhouse, isn't that the part that's more the moral issue to, you know what I mean? Like, the treatment of animals, obviously, less suffering, great.
Yeah.
But isn't the exploitation, the killing, isn't that a moral issue, do you think?
Yeah, I'd say there's a moral issue there, definitely.
Okay. And the reason I ask that is because I get a lot of people that will say, as long as we treat them nicely, it's okay.
Yeah.
But when we put it in a different context, even for ourselves, we wouldn't want to be harmed whether we were treated nicely beforehand or not, right?
Yeah, true.
So if we don't need to consume animals or use them for products, even for consumption, what is our justification, do you think?
I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are grown up in the old-fashioned sense, in the way that they always just do it the way that we were told by ancestors and stuff like that. I agree. And I mean, I'm from a science department. I know about synthetic furs and all sorts of things like that. They're nearly exactly the same. And I mean, for for instance, you can have sheep where you get the wool off them. That doesn't harm them. It's actually good for them as taking it off. You know what I mean?
Well,
But
I can show you what happens to sheep, but it's far from.
I've seen stuff like that. Yeah, it's not nice.
Yeah, so the thing about sharing sheep is they have to do it quickly to keep up with demand. So they try and share as many as they can, and they often get deep lacerations and cuts from the sharing, and they stitch them with no anaesthetic, and they're very rough with them because
they're trying to just get product. They're not looking after the animal.
and all those animals end up in the slaughterhouse. So this is the thing to consider, is that when these animals are being used for products, they don't just use them for that one thing. They're using them for meat to sell as well. So in all these industries, we're looking here at puppy farms. A lot of people would be probably opposed to that type of thing. Puppy farms,
I don't like that sort of stuff. I'm not into that at all.
Why do you think we treat dogs and cats so differently than we do cows, pigs, and chickens?
I think it's because we see them as domestic animals and we can treat them as family. But if you see something that's like a cow or a sheep or something like that, for people who live in the city, you don't see them very often.
That's right.
You don't interact with them a lot, and they're not something that could be part of your family. Whilst you could see a dog as, oh my god, that could be, my family dog that can console with me when I'm feeling sad or
I agree.
keep me happy. So I think it's the fact that if we can relate to something, we feel more emotionally connected than
I agree.
if not.
I agree for sure that, and we're not often showing these animals and the way that they are. So there's a disconnect.
Yeah.
Do you think though that the value that we give an animal, like let's say I don't have any connection to dolphins, right? I've never seen one.
Yeah.
Does that justify killing a dolphin because I don't have a personal connection to them?
No.
So the personal connection we have with an animal or our preferences, do you think that it's still immoral whether we...
I think it's immoral, but I also think that it's almost like a social construct that we have.
I agree.
Or like it's like a stigmatism that was brought about in society. Is this fact that if we can relate to it, then we have to save it. But I feel like
are we discriminating?
Yeah, exactly. That's like almost like racism, but not against humans. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So there's a term for that. Yeah, it's called speciesism.
Speciesism. Okay.
Yeah. So it's pretty fascinating because I didn't realize I was speciesist even when I became vegan. And then I started realizing that when I saw different animals, I felt differently.
Yeah.
And I would maybe not when I was vegan, but beforehand, I would accept different treatment for different animals based on their species.
Yeah.
But when we think about it, is it the value we place on them, or is it their own value of their own life that matters?
Right. Okay. Yeah. I see what you mean.
So what I mean is, when we put ourselves in their position, if we were the animal, we wouldn't want someone to say, well, you're not valuable because you were born as a pig, or you're not valuable because you were born as a chicken.
Yeah.
Because they can't control that, right?
No. Exactly.
And we say in our society that discrimination's wrong, and we shouldn't discriminate.
Yeah.
So do you think historically, perhaps we're at a point in history, we've made a lot of moral progress, but this might be the injustice of our time, right?
It could be, yeah.
And we might look back at this
and go, these people are nuts. Why didn't they change earlier and stuff like that?
And I guess if we don't have the choice, we don't know where we would have sat on slavery in African American during that time of slavery. We wouldn't have known where we sat on child sacrifice.
We weren't there. Yeah.
Well, and there's a good chance that if we were there, we would have been conditioned to believe that it was normal.
Yeah.
But we have an option right now to save ourselves the hindsight and to decide which side we want to be on now. And so when our ancestors or our grandchildren, whatever it is, look back, they'll go like, Granddad was
he was on this side.
He was on the right side of history. Would you be open to trying like a 22-day vegan challenge if it was free and you had full support and you could sign up online?
22 days. Well, can I just ask out of curiosity, because I've always been curious.
Yeah, go for it.
What's like your source of protein then? Is it like beans and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's a good question. So protein is actually abundant in the plant kingdom. You don't actually... the protein myth started from the meat industry. It was a way for them to get... It's fear-based marketing. To get people to think you need to get protein from meat. All plant foods contain protein in different amounts. Beans, lentils, soy... chickpeas, even like lettuce has protein. Like as long as you eat a well-balanced plant-based diet, you don't have to worry about protein at all.
All right.
I track all my. I'm having a whole food plant-based diet at the moment, like very limited processed foods. And every day I'm hitting the right amount of protein without even thinking about it.
That's pretty good.
So honestly, as long as you've got a balanced diet and you're eating enough calories, you'll be getting enough protein.
All right.
And most people, when they think about protein, like, are you checking the amount of protein you're getting at the moment?
Yeah.
Like, most people aren't aware of how much protein they're getting. One documentary I'd highly recommend that you check out. Could you grab past one of those flyers, Ben, please? Thank you. One documentary that's really worth checking out, it's non-graphic, is The Game Changers. It's just come out on Netflix, and they actually talk about the protein myth. They go through all these plant-based athletes and show you how you can thrive and live long and be healthy as a vegan. So you can take that, and there's all this information about the health. This even shows you some of the sources of protein. So TVP, which is super cheap, has like a mincy texture. Literally put it in with some water, like boiling water. It's great for bologneses and salads, all these things. Super high in protein.
Yeah.
There's so many easy ways to get it. Do you have any other questions at all about veganism? Or
Not really. I mean, I sort of get the concept and where you come from it and stuff like that. I mean, I have my friend's sister. She's vegan. I know a few people who are vegan as well, and I respect that decision to become a vegan.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. In response to your question you asked before. I would have never considered it before, but after this, I would consider it.
Cool.
I wouldn't say I would do it, but I would definitely consider it and weigh up the options.
Cool, and I think that's smart because you've just met me and you don't, you need to look into this for yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that the more we educate ourselves and look into it, we can make more informed choices.
Yeah.
And one thing I'd recommend is that you watch this documentary in your own time. It's free on YouTube. It's called Dominion. And you'll be able to see all the different animals and how they're treated and the way they're killed. And at least then you'll be able to decide whether you want to contribute. And just so you know, like, veganism is not a different belief system to most people. So most people are already against animal cruelty and harm towards animals. It's about aligning your actions with your values.
I see what you mean.
So that's all it is. It's not actually some different opinion that we have when we're trying to convert people. It's like, if you're already against this, then surely your actions speak louder than words.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, cool.
Thank you for stopping, man. I appreciate
Nice to meet
it.
you.
You too.
James?
Jamie, yeah.
Jamie.
Cool. Thank you so much, man. Take care.